I feel like homeschooling has a very big reputation that is directly just put online. Because, well, people think you're either super smart and you just don't sit in class because you're smart and ahead of the other kids, or it's because you're just lazy and sit around all day doing absolutely nothing, which is honestly so far from the truth. I've been doing homeschooling for the past 3 years. This year will be my third year doing it, and there are so many things that I wish someone told me before I started. So, whether you're thinking about starting homeschool or you have been in homeschool, or even if you're just curious in what homeschooling is actually like, I thought I would share my experience on it. Because obviously, everyone's experience is going to be a little bit different. This is just mine. And this is also just what I've learned from these last 3 years that I thought I could help someone else who is in the same path. So, nobody makes you do your work. The biggest thing that I've learned is nobody makes you do your own work. During regular school, you have your teachers reminding you about assignments, due dates, classmates asking if you've done your homework on time, the bells telling you when to switch classes, and a schedule that's already made for your day. In homeschool, or during homeschool, I should say, that all disappears. You do not have and that state of mind that everything's prepared. That completely left the room. If you wake up one day and decide, I'll do it tomorrow, there's a very good chance that tomorrow you're going to be saying the exact same thing. It is so easy to fall so far behind if you are not careful. Believe me, the first year I did it, I fell behind badly because I was lost. I had no idea what I was doing. It was a very big and hard adjustment that I definitely should have gone in more prepared, but I had gone in completely blind. I didn't know what I was expecting. I didn't know anything. But now with almost 3 years of experience, I've definitely got it nailed down, which is amazing. But at first, I thought having all of that freedom would be so much fun. You don't have to listen to your teachers anymore. You don't have to get distracted by the class. You don't have to, what's the word? You don't have to rely on any other than yourself. You don't have to do everything at such a fast pace in an hour span where you can map it out during the day. And you know what? Sometimes the freedom is amazing. Sometimes it really is, and I love it. But your freedom also means responsibility. You have to decide when you're going to work, how long you're going to work, and make yourself actually sit down to do the work. Honestly, I think homeschool has taught me more about self discipline than I ever expected it to. You realize pretty quickly that nobody else can build those habits except for you. You are basically teaching yourself because, well, something that surprised me is how much you're actually teaching yourself. And it is hard. I have needed a tutor multiple times because I had no idea what I was doing, because YouTube wasn't working, AI wasn't working. I had to sit down with a tutor to get it done because I was lost. Because, well, in traditional school, if you don't answer, or not if you don't answer, if you don't know something, you just have to raise your hand and you have a teacher or someone who comes over and helps you. And if you're still confused, your teacher literally explains it to you or asks you to stay after class and you do one on one time with your teacher. With homeschool, a lot of that learning starts with you. You might have your lessons, your resources, things to look back on, things to research. But then there are moments when you're reading something and your brain just goes, I have no idea what this means. So then you start having to figure it out. You watch the videos, reread the lesson, you search for explanation, and then you ask questions either to yourself or to who's ever in your house that you can ask. And then you can finally slowly piece it together, but it's definitely very time consuming. And it is definitely 100% frustrating at times. But honestly, I think that is the one biggest skill that homeschool has taught me. It has taught me how to learn independently than have to wait for someone else to help you and have someone to explain everything for you. Because I honestly don't think people talk about that part enough. Because you're not just learning math or English, you're learning how to solve problems on your own. Where in school, they put you in groups to do that, where you're doing this all on your own. It can feel lonely. Another thing that people don't talk about, which should be talked about, is how lonely you are going to feel. You're not seeing the same group of people you would every day when you walked to school or when you were in school. You don't get to walk into a classroom every morning. You don't get to have those random conversations in the hallway that usually make you late for class. You don't get to see your friends at lunch every day. For some people, like myself, that can be a positive thing because it's not as stressful or overwhelming. But for other people, that is their biggest thing because that makes it more time that they have to put more effort into connecting with their people when they can because you're leaving school, which in a sense means you're leaving your friendships behind. And see, I'm not saying that's for all cases because it's not. You could have that one best friend who stays with you for your whole homeschool experience, but not all of your friends are going to stay. I have learned that in the past 3 years. I've lost a bunch of friends, but I've also gained a bunch of friends, and I'm very grateful for all of them. And that is another thing that I had to learn because friendships aren't just happen, they don't just happen because you sit down next to them one day and you're just like, do you want to be friends? Because you have to learn that friendships come with making plans, texting first, or finding just other ways to stay social, whether that's through social media, text messages, playing games with each other. You definitely have to learn how to adjust to not seeing each other, and it is very hard at first. People will judge you. I've definitely had a lot of people make assumptions about homeschool because most people just say, well, homeschool is just easier. Sometimes they think you don't learn as much. And then the biggest one is you just sit at home all day doing nothing. But the funny thing is, I have learned way more than I ever would by sitting in a classroom all day. See, now would I recommend someone going to do homeschool? Absolutely not. I would never recommend it because I hate it. But it's what works for me. It's what works for my brain. And that's just how I've done it for the past 2-ish years, almost 3. Because there was a reason I left, and I've stuck by that reason every single day. But in a sense, the people who are saying all those assumptions about homeschool, they've never done it. They don't know what it's like. They don't know the struggle, the risks you've had to take to do it, how you feel, because it's really hard. You're quite literally trapped in your house every day, unless you have sports or stuff. But during school days, you're at home all by yourself because your siblings are in school, your parents work. It's definitely not fun. It's just very different. That's all that it is. Some parts are definitely easier than a traditional school. Some parts are a lot harder, but neither one of them is perfect at all. I've learned not to worry much about what other people think anymore because it's usually just them judging something they don't even fully understand. Now we get to move on to the best part about it, in my opinion at least. Even though homeschooling is 100% a very big challenge and it has its own challenges along the way, there are things I genuinely do love about it. I love being able to work at my own pace, whether that is sometimes staying up all night and doing school because I forgot about it. But some days it has to be like that because sometimes I very much am way too busy and I forget. So then it's me staying up all night doing my schoolwork because I forgot. But I feel like that's a very normal thing with actual school too because sometimes you have to cram for a test, so you're studying all night. It's like if I understand something quickly, well that's great. I can move on quicker and I can finish. And then if I don't understand it, that's also okay because I can slow down and think about it more. I also love having all of the extra flexibility because every day doesn't have to look the same. I think homeschool has made me more independent than I would have been if I was going to actual school still. It's taught me how to manage my time, how to teach myself new things, and how to take responsibility for my own education. And those are skills that are still going to help me long after I graduate. If I could give someone one piece of advice, let me rephrase that, sorry. If I could give you one piece of advice, hold up. If I could give someone one piece of advice, someone that is considering going into homeschool, it would be do not expect it to be perfect and do not compare your experience to anybody else's. Because some days you are going to feel productive and then other days you are not. And that is completely normal. The biggest thing is learning to stay consistent and ask for help when you need it. That was also a very big thing. You need to ask for help, especially because you're doing it on your own. And then remember that everyone's learning style is different. But I would love to know if any of you have ever been homeschooled or have a friend that's homeschooled. Or if you ever have ever thought about it and if I have either changed your mind or made you or gave you something to think about. And if you have, leave me a comment and tell me your experience with it. Because that's my biggest thing too. I love listening to other people's perspectives about homeschool. I've had a couple of friends who have, or girls, and I've had a few guys actually too, come across my TikTok actually, texting or DMing me, I guess. And we've shared some of our own experiences, which I always find really cool. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye!